Osetek. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of Intentwise, and this is our latest in a series called Expert Connect. Today I'm here with Caitlin Jondro. She's the Director of Marketing at DXL Group. Caitlin, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me this morning, Alan.
Excellent. Well, to start, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? How did you get where you are?
Okay. So, Caitlin Jondro, I've been at DXL for just over 2 years. I have about 15 years experience in different roles in digital marketing and e-commerce.
Great. Well, and Caitlin, I know you had originally come from what I always call, which is kind of a funny term, traditional digital media, where you had been at places like iProspect and you were a digital performance expert. And you moved into, not only did you move to the brand side, but you moved into the retail media world. And so tell us about, that experience transitioning from, agency world to retail media on the brand side.
So in the agency world, it's great exposure to different theories and different thoughts, ways of thinking, because you have the ability to work with multiple companies at the same time. When you go to the brand side, you have more control over the technology and the data that you're using. So that was a huge learning curve. I switched from the agencies over to Staples, and they had millions of products. So it was quite the adjustment trying to get used to managing such a large program.
So I read your most recent DXL earnings call, and I know you have one of the projects is you're making significant investments in your overall marketing group, specifically to loyalty and customer data, and you're building a customer data warehouse to activate kind of data and insights. Tell us a little bit about that.
So DXL's investment is going to allow us better measurement and targeting of our customers. So we'll be able to understand what the customers do both online as well as in store. And then we'll be able to segment those customers and target them in various media channels in real time.
I also saw from the earnings report that DXL is hyper-focused on new customer acquisition. And you have, in the last couple of years, gone deeper into Amazon and other marketplaces as a channel for finding new customers. So tell me a little bit about your experience with Amazon, how you've ramped up Amazon, and your overall experience.
So yes, we're investing significantly more in marketplaces. We're expanding beyond just Amazon to other marketplaces to expand our reach and our exposure to new customers. And then within the Amazon channel, we've really leaned into advertising. It's a great way to get more brand recognition as well as acquire new customers within that specific marketplace. So we can drive a large portion of our revenue through the paid channel, and then they'll come back later for replenishment orders through the organic channel. So it's a great way to acquire that first customer purchase.
That's fantastic. And the last part you said kind of makes me think of measurement. Like, how do you, I think everyone right now is cross-channel struggling with how do you measure cross channels to follow consumers along their journeys and the paths to purchase. So tell me a little bit about how you're tackling that. I'm guessing that's also tied to your data warehousing project.
Yes. So within our data, we're able to see new customers, existing customers, and lapsed customers that haven't purchased with us in the last 12 months. So it's really interesting to look channel by channel and see which channels engage a specific type of customer. Some channels like search are great at that new to file customer, and others like social are better for re-engaging existing customers. So when we plan our marketing mix, it's very important to have all media types appropriately funded to ensure we're not hyper-focused on new customers and neglecting the existing or lapsed customers.
Excellent. So that's interesting. So in those three segments, are you moving to, or maybe you're already there, are you moving towards doing different types of marketing communications across those three customer types?
Yes, so it's something that we've done in more traditional marketing like direct mail for years, and we're starting to find different partners that can help us serve different messages consistently to those audiences. So it's very difficult across channels to make sure that the customers are seeing the same exact experience, but we're making strides in that direction.
And one of the things we had talked about in a previous conversation, I know DXL has aspirations to track live TV and digital media via a LiveRamp. So what business problem are you trying to solve there, and how's that going?
So DXL is onboarding LiveRamp with the aspiration to measure the impact of various channels. It'll be another data point. We currently do geographic holdouts to measure TV, but we can get more precise data out of LiveRamp. We'll know specifically which TV spots or which channels are working best for our company.
Excellent. Can you define what's geographic holdout?
So we'll simply not serve ads in a portion of the United States, and we'll compare the sales there to those that were exposed. You'll be able to see the lift. Hopefully, you'll be able to see the lift, the impact of that TV spot.
Switching topics, so you had mentioned a little bit earlier, obviously you're in the Amazon channel, and as you explore other marketplaces, what are the marketplaces you're exploring, and even how do you evaluate looking at other marketplaces?
So when we're looking at new marketplaces, we try to find ones that have a strong presence for our customer base. So we have very strong information as far as demographics of our customer or preferences of our customers. So we try to find brands that align with that. So for example, we currently target with we currently partner with Target, and we're launching Walmart. Both of them have very strong apparel departments, and it's something that we hope we can get a lot of exposure and potentially new customers from.
Excellent. Are you in Target stores and Walmart stores today?
So our partnerships start strictly online, so you can only find our products online. It fills out their online extension of their product line. So they do offer some big and tall clothing, but it's a very specific fit for these men. So we're able to deliver just a better customer experience for those target customers where they can find clothing that fits their style as well as their sizing.
In terms of going back to Amazon, in terms of Amazon, what are you looking from Amazon in the next like 6 months in terms of what would DXL, what's the wish list that you're hoping from Amazon?
So with Amazon, we hope that they continue to invest in driving traffic to their domain. So we have strong rankings with our organic products, and we're at the point now where to see an inflection, we really need Amazon to double down and invest in the big and tall category so that then we can benefit from their efforts.
And then overall in the kind of the retail media world, and any thoughts as we're heading into the second half of the year, any thoughts on the overall industry and ecosystem and the challenges and opportunities you face?
So one of the challenges is the competition is quite unpredictable at this point in time. So there are concerns about the larger economy and some headwinds for our customer base. So we're seeing that competition is backing off, which makes our media far more efficient than we expected. So it's interesting trying to request the appropriate level of budget when the competition can have such a large impact on how expensive it is to buy media.
Which probably ties directly into data and measurement in building your data warehouse, so you can kind of look at the macro changes going on with the economy and seeing how it's affecting your customer base.
Exactly. Their buying patterns are changing and our competition's investments are changing. So there's a lot of moving parts that we need to keep track of and try to make sense of and predict what we need for the next quarter's budget.
One interesting thing is we're talking to brands now is because Amazon and other marketplaces are starting to become a more real or substantial portion of the revenue mix within brands and retailers. How do you handle internally kind of describing kind of the differences between the online world and the traditional offline world? So, for example, kind of shelf space and competition. Typically what you see on Amazon, the competitors for the quote unquote shelf or the screen are much different than what you'd see in the storefront. So how do you kind of how do you educate people internally within your company so that they can understand the Amazon world?
They're certainly different. So big and tall men, unfortunately, don't have a lot of options on where to shop for physical locations. If they do appear at a department store, for example, they might not have many options in their size. So online, there is just more a variety for them to choose from. So it becomes difficult trying to explain the fit and the quality of our product compared to others on marketplaces. So that is one of our struggles is just the appropriate copy, the appropriate photography, the appropriate story, given you only get a small amount of their attention in the marketplace. You have a few seconds on that product page to convey who your company is, what's different about the product, and why they'd pay a premium price for our product compared to some of the cheaper ones available on Amazon. So that's really a struggle is getting that content just right so that it ranks and then also it converts the user.
Excellent. And then also for your new customers, because as you said, big and tall men, when they've gone in the stores, maybe they haven't found the selection that they've previously wanted. So if it's a first time buyer on Amazon, what type of creative experiences or copy or language do you use to make them feel secure that, your product lines are really unique and differentiated, that they're custom fit for big and tall men?
So we make sure that all of our product listings have a fit guide on it, so a sizing guide to help them understand which size is appropriate for them within the big and tall selection. We also have a campaign going to try to get more user-generated reviews because those are sometimes very helpful. Users will use more creative terminology than we're allowed to use as a brand, and that kind of fills out the story a bit. If someone has a very specific Q&A, we're able to answer it, or our audience is extremely engaged in their community, they actually answer the questions for each other. So that user-generated content has been a focus for us, and it seems to help with both rankings as well as the close rate on our marketplace listings.
Very cool. Any last question? Any final thoughts on 2022 in your role and within DXL?
Yeah, so we are in the process of improving a lot of our technology. So on the customer front as well as the product front. So the customer projects are coming to an end, and the next big thing we have to figure out is how to manage that rich content across all marketplaces and DXL.com as well as the store experience. So that's quite a hurdle for us. We have a large assortment of private labels as well as national brands. So we're working on that software problem, if you will, in the future, and that's something I'm really looking forward to solving for this year.
Caitlin, I wanted to ask you about organic versus paid listings within Amazon or other marketplaces. How does DXL, kind of look at the organic versus the paid world?
So it's really interesting. We've asked the question of a lot of different vendors, just trying to figure out what the industry benchmark is. Should you have 40% of your revenue from paid? Should it be 60%? What's that right mix? So what we do is we look at increasing and decreasing ad spend and see what happens to the organic side. So if organic remains steady with the increase and decrease, we figure we're probably not over invested in advertising. So we continue to do that throughout the year, just testing different levels of investment to see how it impacts the organic side.
Earlier, you mentioned geo-targeting or suppressions of certain geo-targets. Do you ever use that to help figure out organic versus paid?
So we don't do that as a company. I'm not sure if it's possible in the marketplace space. There's limited levers to pull on the marketplace side. We use geo-targeting more for CTV, search, social, other media channels, but not within the marketplace space.
Great. Well, Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Expert Connect. And, best of luck with you and DXL.
Thank you so much, Alan.